5. I would now call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:11 p.m. Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Present.
Mr. Schubert?
Here.
Ms. McCall?
Present.
Ms. Bennett?
Here.
Mr. Carpenter?
Here.
Ms. Haley?
Here.
Ms. Stanford?
Here.
With 7 present, we have a quorum.
We'll now take a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. As we start each board meeting, it bears reminding the mission of Rockford Public Schools is to collaboratively engage all students in an equitable first-class education for a changing world. Before going any further, I want to thank Kim Pedersen and Aaron Hill, who are working behind the scenes to produce the board's broadcast via YouTube live stream and Comcast Channel 20. I also wish to welcome Superintendent Student Advisory Representative Stella Seminario. And Stella is from Guilford High School. We will now recognize and celebrate outstanding contributions of our staff. Ms. Haley, the floor is yours.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, we are excited to honor our PS 205's outstanding students and staff and celebrate their great achievements. Please come forward to be recognized after you hear your name called. Guilford High School Junior Hannah King. She qualified for the IHSA state meet. She was seeded 36th in the 100 meter backstroke after a 58.68 at sectionals in Byron. Hannah placed 36th at the state with a time of 59.52. The event was held on November 15th and 16th in Westmont, Illinois. Way to go, Hannah. And girls swimming coach Dawn Durkin. Flynn Middle School paraprofessional Shawan Gordon has been inducted into the John Henrik Clark Honor Society. Shawan is in the RISE program to be an elementary school teacher. The John Henrik Clark Honor Society was established in 2002. Established in 2002 at NIU by a group of African American students to recognize those with high academic standards and an ongoing commitment to community service. Students with a cumulative 3.0 GPA were invited to apply. And with the principal motto of always do your best, what you plant now will harvest later, the society was founded. John Henrik Clark was a writer, historian, professor, and pioneer in the field of Africana studies. He founded the African Heritage Studies Association and was highly regarded for his lifelong devotion to studying and documenting the histories and contributions of African people. We are excited for Shawan and her future teaching career in Rockford Public Schools. Congratulations to Andrew Wimberly, a dean at Ellis Elementary School. He has been awarded the Dean of Students Award from Illinois Principals Association. This is a local, region-only award and doesn't have a state category that coincides with it. The Kishwaukee Region Board of Illinois Principals Association seek nominations from all members in the region for nominees, and then we use a selection process to identify the winner Andrew was nominated by 3 different individuals. All had amazing things to say about him. They were Kawanda Jones, Lindsay Funk Olivares, and Geraldine Dye. We are so proud of everyone for their amazing accomplishments. Congratulations again, and thank you all for coming. That's it. That concludes our recognitions for this evening. Again, thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Haley. We are now on to the petition and communication portion of our meeting, where we invite the public to make comments. The board will not respond to comments at this time. If it is appropriate, you will be contacted in a timely manner by staff. Each speaker will be allowed no more than 3 minutes to address the board. It is not appropriate to discuss matters that will otherwise be confidential in such open meetings. If you look at your left, you will see 2 digital clocks. One shows the total time allotted for public comments, and one shows total time for each speaker. We thank you for your cooperation with our guidelines. First speaker would be Mr. Todd Wilson, followed by Maria, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, Altamariano. Good evening. The mic isn't on.
There you go. Thank you. Start that again. Good evening. Our bilingual teachers are some of the most creative, dynamic, resourceful teachers in the entire district. We constantly are tasked to do more with less, to teach equally the student at the cusp of giftedness and the student who has traveled 2,000 dangerous miles and seen unspeakable atrocities in the name of a better life. We're the only teachers who regularly get new students who may not have set foot in a classroom for 3 years. We translate countless flyers, newsletters, and notes for admin, PTO, and monolingual peers. We advocate for parents who don't know school protocols and are too afraid to ask. In many ways, we are the lifeblood of a district with a 33% Latino and Arabic population. And yet new curricula are often adopted with little regard given to the appropriateness of our bilingual students. The current curriculum is too rigorous, unengaging, and workbook driven. We are left to try to scaffold our students sometimes 2 or 3 grade levels. And yet our classes are filled with more and more newcomers every year. At 5th grade this year, I have 10 students who have recently arrived and who have little to no English, with math and reading skills on average 3 grade levels below. Prior to COVID, that number was usually 1, maybe 2 newcomers. And yet we are consistently overburdened with class sizes exceeding the numbers outlined by Illinois state law. At Whitehead this year, every single bilingual classroom is 2 students over the max. With exceeding numbers, it becomes exceedingly difficult to deliver individualized instruction to such a wide array of needs. And yet, to top it all off, the district has decided to stop paying the class size overages to its bilingual teachers that it has paid in good faith for the last 20 years. While I'm not here to debate the legality of such a decision, I can speak for every bilingual teacher here that it feels downright disrespectful. This is a gut punch at a time when societal respect for teachers is at an all-time low. This is a gut punch to us bilingual teachers working twice as hard to ensure our wide range of students are getting what they need in 2 languages with insufficient and sometimes often inappropriate materials. I'm here to implore you to stop taking for granted this talented, dedicated group of educators and to no longer treat bilingual education as an afterthought. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Maria Altamirano, and I'm at Washington Elementary. Good evening, esteemed members of the Rockford Public School Administration, Board, HR, and legal representatives. I stand before you today on behalf of all bilingual and transitional bilingual education staff across RPS. We are deeply concerned by the recent actions that have directly impacted our ability to properly submit bilingual overage claims, as well as the denial of submission by various schools, including Hillman and Rolling Green. At Hillman, for the second consecutive year, bilingual staff members have been denied the right to submit overage claims, and at Rolling Green, bilingual staff face similar denials. Additionally, REA members at Washington and Lathrop were informed that their overage claims were being rejected despite clear contractual language supporting these claims. The language cited by the administration stating that bilingual class sizes are equal to monolingual class sizes is not only misleading but also non-contractual. Our contract language is clear and specific on class sizes, stating maximum pupil-teacher ratios and the conditions under which overage pay applies. This includes a specific proportion for overage pay when class sizes exceed the contractual limits by no more than 2 students. I am compelled to point out that the language the district has referred to regarding a 90% rule is not grounded in our contract, and furthermore, it directly contradicts Illinois School Code, which governs the operations of school districts in our state. Illinois School Code explicitly states that bilingual classrooms must adhere to a student-teacher ratio that does not exceed 90% of the general education class size for the same grade level. The district's failure to comply with this state mandate is a clear violation of both the school code and RPS board policy, which mandates adherence to the law. Moreover, RPS 205 board policy 6.16 explicitly states that our district is required to comply with state law regarding English language learners. The district cannot disregard these statutory requirements, which are designed to ensure equity and fairness for all students and staff. As bilingual educators, we are not simply entitled to fair treatment based on contractual agreements, but also have the right to work within the parameters set by the state and federal laws. The failure to honor these agreements and policies violates the rights of our bilingual staff, and I ask you to take immediate action to rectify this situation. The REA contract ensures that staff rights are protected in addition to the rights granted by state and federal statutes. When these rights are ignored, it undermines trust and respect between educators and the administration. I implore you to act in good faith and uphold the agreements we have made collectively. Furthermore, as bilingual educators, we have served RPS with dedication, and we serve to be treated fairly. I ask that we begin the immediate application for collective agreements, including overage pays, in accordance with the REA contract and state law. Finally, I want to remind the administration and the board of their legal obligations as outlined in the Illinois Labor Relations Act. Let us work together to ensure that we create an environment of fairness, trust, and respect for all employees. Thank you.
Mr. Kyle Wolf, followed by Angel Brown. Mr. Kyle Wolf. Thank you.
Good evening. This morning, I emailed each board member here a video. And this video is also posted on the REA social media channel on YouTube. The posted video provides REA perspectives on your comments at the last committee of the whole meeting. In this video, accusations of malicious intent regarding the behavior of teachers who yielded their time during the last board meeting were voiced by board members. I'm having a little technical issue here.
No problem.
In this video, some even referred to us teachers as them. Well, let me make it abundantly clear. The act of yielding time was efficient, respectful, and was conducted that night only after confirming it was permitted to do so. Watch the video and you will see that some RPS board members inferred that the yielding of time was offensive or even a poor use of public speaking time. Frankly, I'm baffled by the board's reactions. The meeting flowed fine, as anyone watching your broadcast would plainly see. So this leads me to wonder if the issue isn't about the yielding of time, but rather about what teachers had to say at the last board meeting. Perhaps it was about the tone or the bluntness of the words these teachers use to address the issues impacting them. That night, 6 courageous teachers stood here to air their concerns. And since that time, this board took what action? I'll tell you what action they took. They spent 20 minutes debating not the issues teachers raised, but how they yielded their time. I ask you, when will this board spend 20 minutes addressing the real issues teachers continue to bring before you? Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Hello, board members.
Hello.
As a stakeholder in my child's education, I'll keep fighting for what's right. Mr. Superintendent, I'm pretty sure that you probably did receive my complaint results from the Illinois Board of Education. And I also filed a complaint with the OCR, so I will be waiting for those results to come back. Depending on how it go, it will depend on how my next step will go. I don't know what findings that y'all found or took when I came here to state that my son inhaled dust for 5 months at Haskell School and it was an environmental issue. I'm pretty sure y'all don't have this either. February 7th, 2023. The dust is gone. This is from his teacher. The dust is gone. I saw them clean it in the other day. They must have came in again this morning because my light was on and the door was unlocked when I got here, and I noticed that it looked freshly wiped. So therefore, we do know it was dust. So it's no debate there. So if a child had asthma and you inhale dust for any period of time, anybody should know what would happen to their health or anything. My main thing is somebody needs to take responsibility of what happened to my son. It makes no sense because that is an issue with you guys, not me or my son. I'm happy my son go to Welsh. He's welcome, he's happy, the monkey is off his back. Principal O'Brien is welcoming, he's loving, and if he can't wait to get to school Monday, why can't Welsh go to 8th grade to be under a leadership and guidance of a principal like that care? Our children are our future. Our children are investments and not write-offs. And I'm going to keep coming here until y'all tell me something, and it makes no sense. I don't know what y'all trying to hide under the rug, sweep under the rug. It is what it is. I'm going to continue to stand up for kids that have asthma. I don't see anybody coming into the schools cleaning with steam mops and steam vacs to make sure there's no pet dander on the rug with kids that's allergic to pets or cats. These are things that y'all need to look into. Right now, the absent rate at Haskell right now is 15%. You have a small residential street with about 10 diesel trucks on the block. All the smoke, where does that go? Do anybody take that in consideration? I don't come here just to speak and just to hear myself speak at all. Y'all need to do something and take action and fight for what's right. It shouldn't have to take someone to fall out for an asthma attack or die of a heart attack or anything for y'all to take action. Hold yourself accountable for y'all actions.
Tratera Flowers, followed by John Tag Bradley.
Hello, board. My name is Tratera Flowers. I'm here on behalf of my son. My son earlier this month was attacked at school by a He was walking down the hall. He got attacked by a student from behind. Then a brother jumped in. He was not suspended for that altercation. However, subsequently the next day, he was suspended for an altercation that derived from that original altercation. My son, prior to that, held a 3.75 GPA. Good kid. Now doesn't want to go to class. There were no restorative practices implemented as stated in your rules and code of conduct book. You said and stated in your rules of code of conduct book that you would have a parent-student administrative conference. You would do a bully report. You would do such things and hold yourselves accountable, as well as school faculty accountable and administration for implementing the process and procedures that you placed in your code of conduct book. You failed to do that so far. Upon my investigation, I learned in your school code of conduct book that within 1 day of receiving a suspension notice from the parent, they must submit a request for a suspension or review appeal from the building principal. The form is available from any school administrator. However, I reached out to the school administration and they didn't know where to find that form at. I had 1 day to appeal the decision for my son in the second altercation, being 3 days out of school suspension. No one has provided me that information. I've reached out to your board coordinator who did not provide me that information. And upon further investigation, I did notice that you all lie a lot. You pad numbers. Aaron Jared, yeah, you pad numbers. That's what I'm coming to the conclusion of, because you publicly report that you have a 74% graduation rate. As well, I found out upon my investigation that you have a 71%. 71% of RPS high school seniors are not proficient in math. So how do you have a 74% graduation rate? Only 26% of Guilford high school students tested proficient in English. And regarding the RPS graduation rate in the school report card, the state data doesn't reflect a sustained increase of academic or other indicators that indicate improved success for students within over the last 10 years. Explain your graduation rate. If that's true, who lying, the state or you? Somebody is lying here, and it needs to be exposed. And with everybody who previously came up here before me, where there is smoke, there is fire. All of the above data points are in spite of the fact that RPS implements a Z grade where students start from a 50%. How in the world do you explain that? You are failing our kids. Aaron Jarrett, 2025, I'm calling for your humble resignation or your termination. And I'll give you your 3 minutes back.
Follow up behind these flowers. Y'all come around this way. I come before you to let you know I started with 3 kids at the beginning of the school year, and now I have a total of 48 kids. Those who go to Wells School, raise your hand. Those who go to McIntyre, raise your hand. Those who go to Elder School, raise your hand. I even got Lewis Lennon kids here. Tomorrow I'm going to Morris, Illinois. We're coming back with a U-Haul full of toys and stuffed animals for the kids that we're going to give out this here Saturday at Edge Communities Church. That we need to raise $950 to take our kids to see the Harlem Globetrotters game. Mind you, 10 years ago, we took the Orton Keys boys that was in trouble to the Harlem Globetrotters game they'd never been before. After they started watching the game, they came out wanting to play basketball. Ever since then, the Boys and Girls Club been having a basketball team. If we don't teach our kids our history, they won't know our history. I want to just give you an example. How many books in the Bible? 66. How many books in the New Testament? 37. How many books in the New Testament? 27. How many books in the Old Testament? 39. That's something that I found out a lot of parents and adults don't even know how many books in the Bible. What perturbed me, before they took the prayer out of school, we didn't have the mass shooting in school. We didn't have the mass violence in school because we had prayer and we had pastors that could pray over our youth when they was in trouble. Dr. Reed asked me, which I've been doing for years, coming during the Christmas break, is to pass out lunches because a lot of our kids won't have access to food. And we looking Dr. Reed in order to provide me with a stipend or funds so I can transport this luncheon food. I'm still looking forward to the teacher union helping me because our kids that's up under me, their grades have increased, their attendance have increased, and their attitude have increased, and that's because of this here scheme. They see a positive black male role model. They don't see an individual that's paying off a bully in order to keep a bully in line. You don't pay no bully off. In order to, you're supposed to discipline that bully. We're supposed to upgrade our kids, teach them, you see me talking? To teach them the right way and what have you. And so by doing that, I take the kids to the Boys and Girls Club. I started with 3, now I got 48. And guess what? We got kids that's 7, even though y'all talking when y'all supposed to be talking. We got kids that's 7 and 8 years old, can't even spell their last name. We took them to Nicholas Conservatory. They didn't even know they live in Rockford. We took kids that go to Lewis Lennon School. They didn't even know that Lewis Lennon was the first African-American male here in Rockford. If we don't teach our kids our history, they won't learn our history. So we can't complain about what the school's not doing or should be doing. It's what we're going to do in the community to upraise our kids. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Deborah Winery, followed by Rick Elsh. Deborah Winery.
Can't hear. Good evening. My name is Deb Winery. I am a parish nurse here in Rockford. I am active in the Methodist Church with social justice issues, and I'm speaking for the Education Committee of Eliminate Racism 815. Our mission is to be a passionate advocates of equity-driven policies and practices for the Rockford Public Schools so that all children will be prepared for social and academic success. The core issue is that the number of teachers of color don't reflect the 205 students. ER 815 applauds RPS's programs to increase the number of teachers of color, and Dr. Jarrett's news release about NIU and Rockford University. The public should not lose sight of the data that these efforts are being undermined by staff leaving. In September 24, the message pointed out that the exit of educators leaving for other work environments. Black teachers exiting improved from 22% down to 12% exiting, but the number of the remaining teachers is not, 31%. Other groups also have not improved. Please see the chart on the handout. District 205 still needs to examine the culture and the support for all teachers to retain more teachers. The district no longer has the advantage of paying the highest salaries in the area, and it is better for students to have experienced staff rather than repeatedly hire and train inexperienced staff. Respectfully submitted, Deb Winery. Thank you.
Ricky Naylor, followed by Nalia Dinwiddie.
Preacher right here. I'm working for y'all, okay? Y'all see these kids here? I work for them. They tell me what to do. Okay, now just in case y'all are looking for a new superintendent, there are a bunch of heavy hitters out there. I'm following a story right now that went down in Memphis. They're looking at firing her. She only been on the job for eight months, and they ready to fire her. This guy been on the job for 12 years, and you guys still standing by him. So if you want it, now they get ready to pay her off $487,000 to get away. So now you guys that did revoke to sign that contract, I'm still waiting for you guys to show some responsibility for your choices. You still refuse to hold this man accountable. Now, I'll tell you a story. Even when I worked for this school district with those kids that y'all kicked out and suspended, he sent over 2 of his black administrators. I was in the classroom. This is how the classroom was looking. I was sitting down, but those kids were sitting in the seats, doing their work, being quiet. So then they came back and told him, oh, we went over to his class. He was just sitting down there and the kids doing their work. Well, what are they supposed to do? Now you got these kids, and we didn't have, and they didn't tell him about, we didn't have no phones out. I took the phones. They didn't have no phones out. They wasn't cussing. They wasn't vaping in the bathrooms. But yet, he did not ask the question. He should have, when they told him that nonsense, he should have said, you know what, I'm going over there. And then he could have came and asked me, he said, how did you get these guys to sit down in their seats? How did you get those phones? How did you get them to come to school? Because they came to school. Because they surprised me. I'm like, so I looked at all those charts. I'm like, these guys would get suspended every day. They was suspended or didn't go to school. They was there. It's supposed to have been 15. 11 of those guys was there, but they didn't tell him that, and he didn't even follow up and ask me how I was doing it. So now I'm gonna give this guy another opportunity. Now you got that school over there, Kennedy Middle School, is still sitting at 72% absenteeism. Now, he can call right now and say, can you find me somebody to come over here with my staff to help me deal with this? And then also, who is y'all's person, though, monitoring these black students that graduated at 63%? Whose job is that? Nobody know, because he ain't put nobody in charge of that. Come on, we got to do better. Now, with these teachers right here back here, get somebody that's out. I know they mad. But they need somebody to get saying like, okay, I know y'all mad. Let's talk, but just don't cuss me out. Get these guys in the room, and then you got to bring them all. Just get a few of them in there and say, okay, what are the problems in the school district? Listen to them. They want to be heard. They want to be respected. And right now, they're not getting either one of those things. They're just getting blown away. Like they said, y'all heard what they said last time, but yet he would not come forward and say, you know, I heard what y'all said. This is what we're going to do. He just sits there all the time, collecting that big paycheck and going about his business. Wake up, board. Get somebody else in here that can do that job. I can do it.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Nalia Denwitty, and I'm the junior class president of Guilford Student Council. Tonight, I'm reading concerns shared with me from another student who could not be here tonight. Hi, I am not able to present today, but I won't let that stop from speaking out about our safety as high schoolers in the RPS 205 district. Currently, the school does not feel like a safe environment because of many circumstances, but the main one I would like to address is bullying. As of now, the schools cannot do much about it, and I feel as if more should be done than just a report that never helps. Approximately half of suicides among young people are a cause of bullying, and it continues to rise as nothing is being done. Me and many others feel as if bullies should be held accountable for their actions before it gets to a point of someone being harmed. Please just take a minute to sit back and think about how it would affect you or a loved one to be bullied or harm themselves because of bullying. Please hear me out, because I'm one of many to have dealt with bullying and have tried to hurt myself because of it. Thank you for your time.
Is Mr. Brick Elsh still here? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rick Elston. I'm a RPS 205 product, Carlson, Eisenhower, Guilford class of 1989. I've been teaching in the district since 1994, and I started this year my 25th year teaching students at Guilford High School, including some students of some of the people around here. So I'm here to talk a little bit about the grading. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to hit the highlights of the current grading policy and just share some of my thoughts about them. First, the Z. I know that many of you are discussing making some changes, so I'm not going to dwell on the Z too much, except to let you know what it really is, what everybody knows what it really is. Grade inflation. That's what it is. Our parents know it. Our students know it. It's not a secret. And you board are smart to finally start asking about that. But it really goes a lot deeper than that. Let's talk about the 90-10. Formative, 10%. There's no incentive to do it. I tell my students, we're sending you mixed messages. I tell you how important the learning is on a daily basis, that the formative work is where the learning happens. That's how you perform on the summative. But they're not stupid. They can do math. They can see that even when they do really well on a major formative, it does not have an impact on the grade like it should. Let's talk about no late penalties. Nothing like that in life. We're not teaching responsibility. We're not teaching accountability. Why come to class if you can turn things in whenever you want with no penalty at all? Let's talk about cheating and plagiarizing. Your own code of conduct says that they can't get they're supposed to get academic punishment. But not only at the building level, I pushed it all the way up to the district level, and we were told by your district leadership that it's correct. You catch a student cheating and plagiarizing red-handed, you're supposed to give them a Z. And you know what's worse? Give them a retake if it's a summative. With no discouragement for cheating, with 90% of their grade riding on high-stakes summatives, what are you actually doing? You're encouraging cheating and plagiarizing. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. These are all, and the worst, what lesson are you teaching them? Academic honesty, honesty in general isn't important? That's more important than what I teach you as history. That's more important than math. These are the lessons that can't be measured by standardized testing or any kind of grading policy. Let's talk about attendance. You skip a test, it doesn't count as your first attempt. A kid who shows up unprepared, fails, they get a retake. Kid skips, he can come take it again, or she, and then they can get another retake. And that's what you guys call equity. The bottom line, you didn't listen, you didn't ask, and you're going to run into the same disaster with your CCEC because you don't talk to the people you need to. Students, teachers, counselors.
Thank you. We're now on to the Governance Committee action item. Is there a motion and a second to approve item 4A?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry. Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Is there a motion and a second to approve item 4B?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on to the performance and monitoring consent portion of our meeting. May I please have a motion and a second to approve items listed in section 5A?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items in section 5 that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Mrs. Bennett?
Letter N.
Please call the roll on items not pulled in section 5.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Consent item N has been pulled for separate consideration. Is there any discussion?
So I know last time there were a few different concerns brought up with the academic calendar, and it was my understanding that follow-up would be done with students and/or REA and other individuals did said conversations happen, and what was the result of the conversations?
I'll kick us off here, and Dr. Gallagher can jump in as well. I think one of the substantive changes we looked at in conversation with all of our employee groups was the week of Thanksgiving being an entire week of not having student attendance is something that is seen as pretty widely popular across our groups. But a concern emerged with some of our AFSCME partners with the way the contract is written, that were we to celebrate Veterans Day with an actual holiday, that would mean that Tuesday and Wednesday would either be required to be sick days or unpaid days of the week of the Thanksgiving break for those employee groups. So we were able to reach out to our other employee groups who were not impacted, including the REA, have a conversation. We decided that we would continue our current practice of celebrating Veterans Day in school, so students can have the opportunity to have assemblies and be part of that and celebrate that holiday and recognize it during the week of Thanksgiving week, which is what we've been doing. We did add back, because we are proposing a 2-week earlier start, the return of Columbus/Indigenous Peoples Day as a celebrate that we would celebrate, so that we would do that. And it was my understanding that per conversations with Lori Holdley, some conversations I had, and with some conversations that Dr. Gallagher had, we landed on an agreement on those issues. So I know the board had some specific thoughts on whether to do Monday or Tuesday on Veterans Day. We ended up just continuing with current practice so we could better meet the needs of our AFSCME partners. So Dr. Gallagher, anything you'd want to add to that context?
Just appreciate the collaboration from all the involved stakeholders.
And I know one item was also President's Day. So President's Day will be celebrated on President's Day now?
On President's Day, we have we are currently scheduled to celebrate that on the 16th of February, and which would address that, and we added Teacher Institute Day for the 9th. There's flexibility on where we could place that, so we did attempt to address that. Thank you. Sorry, I missed that one. I spent so much time last week on the Thanksgiving issue that I missed that one.
No, thank you. And I know Mr. Carpenter already brought up a concern before about parents who are working and trying to figure out childcare. So I appreciate the change. So thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on the Planning and Development consent portion of our meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve items in Section 6?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items in Section 6 that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on the governance consent portion of our meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve items listed in Section 7?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on the closed session consent agenda, including workers' compensation settlement agreement, workers' compensation settlement agreement, that was DH, workers' compensation settlement agreement, RA, appointment of Vissy Kartner as 10-month administrator assigned to early childhood services, appointment of Carrie Jancic as a 10-month assistant principal assigned to Carlson, appointment of Matthew Russi, 10-month assistant principal assigned to Lincoln, appointment of Christopher Bergen as 10-month assistant principal at Auburn, HR organizational report. May I have a motion and a second to approve the items in Section 8, closed session consent?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any closed session consent items that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Ms. Bennett?
G.
Please call the roll on items not pulled in Section 8.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Closed session consent item G has been pulled for separate consideration. Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Abstain.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 abstain.
We are now on to student discipline, suspension appeals, and expulsion. H0015X, the 10-day suspension is upheld. H0016X, the expulsion is held in advance contingent upon an expulsion in advance agreement for 2024-2025 school year through the entire 2025-2026 school year. H0017X, the expulsion is held in advance contingent upon an expulsion in advance agreement for the agreement of 2024-2025 school year through the first semester 2025-2026 school year. H0018X, the expulsion in advance, held in advance, contingent upon an expulsion in advance agreement for the agreement of the 2024-2025 school year through the first semester of 2025-2026 school year. P0055X, the expulsion is held in advance contingent upon an expulsion in advance for the remainder of 2024-2025 school year. P0066X, expel for the second semester of 2024-2025 school year through the entire 2025-2026 school year. P0067X, expel for 2 calendar years from the date of board action 12/17/2024, 12/16/2026. May I have a motion and a second to approve items in Section 9, student expulsion and suspension appeals?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on to student discipline EIA. May I have a motion and a second to approve items in section 10, student EIAs?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any items that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
The next item on the agenda is superintendent report. Dr. Jarrett?
Thank you, Board President Pearson. I'm going to defer my time to Stella, our student representative from the Superintendent's Advisory Council. Stella, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Stella Seminario, and I'm a senior from Guilford High School. This is my second year on the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, and I honestly like to start by thanking the Rockford Public School District for all of the opportunities that they have provided for me and my family. As a sophomore, I was able to apply for the Running Start program through Rockford Valley College and was accepted into this program, which is allowing me to graduate high school with my diploma and my associate's degree. This was funded by the district and was honestly such an amazing opportunity for me. Rockford Promise has recently announced that they're adding OSF's nursing program into their list of options, and I was also accepted into their program and will be attending their school with aid from Rockford Promise. I've always dreamed of becoming a nurse since I was little, and this opportunity given to me by the RPS district will hopefully allow me to graduate debt-free and has majorly helped me and my family grow financially. So again, I give a big thank you to everyone who has made that possible for me and a lot of other RPS seniors. Over the past couple of months at our monthly SSAC meetings, our council has discussed several times what we thought about the starting 2 weeks earlier during the school year. I'm not sure if this has been decided on, but even though I'm a senior and this necessarily doesn't affect me, for many reasons I'm like 100% on board with this being implemented. One, I think that the schedule for AP classes would line up a lot better with when the exams are scheduled for. For the handful of AP classes I've taken at Guilford, we've never really finished the course content or had time to review. I just felt like my classmates and I had been shorted on time compared to other schools in the area who had already started a couple weeks before us and had that 2 weeks to review. I also see this change majorly benefiting both teachers and students with the timing of their semesters. We would end our first semester before Christmas break, which would alleviate some stress for some students during the holidays, and give us a fresh start for the second semester right after break. I also think that starting 2 weeks earlier would majorly affect attendance rates at the end of the school year. When we don't start to end school until June, families start taking their family vacations, and missing school almost starts to feel optional for some students when they see that there's not many kids in their classes. These 2 weeks are also kind of like busy work days. It's mostly like the teachers having you help them pack up their classes, movie days, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of just like, it's a hassle to have to get yourself to school those days. And overall, I just think that implementing the 2 week early start date would be very beneficial. And I'm also very grateful for all of the opportunities I was given through RPS.
Thank you, Stella. I conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Stella. The next on the board agenda provides opportunity for board members' discussion. Are there any board member comments, action steps, other business, new business, agenda recommendations, or any other matters to discuss? If not, so you've received an additional agenda item regarding Vision 2030. If you did not receive that information in regards to a resolution, please reach out to me and I'll make sure you get that. That will be presented or discussed at the Committee of the Whole for January. So that is really important. While it is a Illinois Association School Board ask, that is just what it is, an ask for a resolution. We can choose not to. It is not a mandate. But I do ask that you carefully review the information in regards to Vision 2030 and if it's deemed necessary for us to vote in support of it. I would appreciate that. And that's all I have. I would like a confirmation. Exactly how many, or an estimate, how many teachers do we have in RPS 205? Is it about 2,000? It's about 2,000. Okay, thank you very much. I always want to thank our teachers for their efforts and the sacrifice they make every day. It is certainly appreciated. So we have a large number of teachers. I would like to remind teachers, because there's, of course, there's a small percentage present, but when you have a complaint, I say this again, I'm always willing to hear your complaint. You do have the REA leadership, and I would trust that they have an open door policy. So if you have any concerns where it relates to the leadership of REA, that you direct that out of respect to its leadership. If not, I'll take if there's not anything else, if there's no further business, I'll take a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
You all want to second?
Second.
Thank you and have a good night.